Welcome to Flame On. I am Brian. I'm here with your weekly Rainbow Spotlight interview series where we talk with queer and allied creators, writers, musicians, filmmakers, everybody under the sun. I'm really excited today. One of my oldest Comic-Con journalist friends that I got to spend so much time with in Heroes in Charlotte, North Carolina, years ago, lifetimes ago. Brett White, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Stream. It's so bad. Anyway, so Brett is a writer and has been doing some amazing, fantastic, and very useful for me, actually, as somebody talks about this a lot. Articles for The Decider for how long you been with them now?
It's almost 4 years. It was like April 2017 is when I left comic book journalism behind and got a real job that actually respects me.
Oh, honey, seriously.
Burn the bridges, drag them. Those bridges were rickety anyway. I don't care.
Comic book journalism, I think a lot of us started there, and some are still there. God bless them. But yeah, I feel like, I still go to the shows occasionally, but covering them, no, God, no. Like it's too much.
No.
But let me throw a link up real quick. We'll bring it up again. But if you want to go see all of the great stuff that Brett has written for The Decider, and these are so good. The Drag Race, WandaVision, you name it. You cover a lot. It's
WandaVision.
Oh my goodness! Look at that.
I was waiting to show off my WandaVision TV tray.
That is spectacular. So what are the perks, right?
They send me things.
I love your energy with WandaVision specifically, and obviously it makes sense coming from a comics background. But I want to start with your because we're going to talk about WandaVision, obviously, but I want to start with your work about Hayden Rorke, because I did not know much about Hayden until you through some of the posts about what you're doing. You kind of like put him on my radar, and I remember I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah,
I absolutely saw it, like a lot of us did, right? Nick at Night, to be fair. I wasn't alive when it came out.
Yeah, we're the Nick at Night generation. I Dream of Jeannie Tuesdays.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh my God, I forgot that.
Or Jeannie Thursdays. It's one of the others. Lucy Tuesdays, Bewishby Wednesdays, Jeannie Thursdays.
I've suppressed that whole period of my life. Wow, that is great. Glad you remember it. But what is it about Hayden Rorke, who played was it Dr. Bellows?
Dr.
Correct?
Bellows. Alfred Bellows.
What is it about him? Like, where was that first moment when you were like, I want to know more? Because you're writing a biography of him. Right?
Yeah. It's I will definitely not blame. I will thank COVID for this, because I've needed something to occupy my brain time. And so it all started because of my sitcom TV podcast, MustHaveSeenTV. Every June, for the past 2 Junes, I've done a lot of gay Pride Month content. Like I usually do 3 or 4 episodes about a queer of the week sitcom, and the podcast is all about sitcoms before the year 2000. So we're talking, the classics. And specifically with those, I try to go pre-Ellen coming out, because that's when you would have the episodes where someone's brother visits. Oh no, they're actually gay. They all have to learn how to love them, and then they promise to be their friend forever, and they disappear and they never come back. So I specialize in doing those episodes, and so every June I have queer people on to talk about those episodes. But then on social media, I try and do a lot of content about just rainbow spotlighting these queer writers, directors, and actors that were on these shows that, because of the time period, they're not Billy Eichner, Ellen DeGeneres, Neil Patrick Harris, all the ones of today, they're allowed to be out, and we know. But people like, Richard Deacon from the Dick Van Dyke Show, Charles Nelson Riley and Paul Lynde, and everyone on Bewitched. I mean, it's
Dick Sargent.
All of Samantha's relatives, basically. And so I discovered that Hayden was gay, and I discovered that so it's summer 2019, I discovered that. And that was still oh wow, just one of those moments of oh, I had no idea. It's so cool. And then because of quarantine this year, June 2020, I was like, well, I'm going to do some You Must Remember This type of like storytelling episodes, like actually focusing in on the lives of some of these people, not talking about like a specific episode of television, but just like, here's what I can find out about their life through Google. And that's when I did an episode about episode 1 was about 3 directors. Episode 2 was about Dick Clare, who co-created Mama's Family and is gay. And is the reason that you can get cryogenically frozen in California.
No way.
Yeah, no, his episode is fully wild.
I need to get a link to that, and I will put that up and share that, because that is outstanding. I had no idea. He was hella involved in cryogenics, and also like just buried within, you know, the recesses of Google, I found like the official cryonics, like the people that do it. I found their old report from the 80s about his freezing process, about when he died from AIDS, of course, because the 80s. So then I did an episode about Hayden, and his story attracted me because it was happy. It was positive. Like every other story, I mean, honestly, like I just said, most of them all die of AIDS. Like these classic sitcom actors and directors and writers, they get to the 80s and then were robbed of them because of, you know, the government not wanting to acknowledge that a deadly pandemic was raging through a community. Hayden's story, on the other hand, is this lovely story about him and essentially his husband. And essentially his husband, who were together from the 30s until when his partner just died in 1979. And they went to World War II together. They did Broadway together. They moved to Studio City, LA together, and just was like directing TV and movies, and Hayden was like starring in them. And I mean, they lived this really beautiful life. And I hit a really good, I found Hayden's niece, his niece-in-law, because most all of his family have all passed, like all of his brothers, all of their children, except for the wife of one of the sons. And talking to her really like solidified, like, oh no, this is really special, because they had this relationship where neither of them were shunned by their families. The families all knew they were a couple, and you know, they weren't closeted either. They hosted parties for the Jeannie cast. They had these legendary parties at their house where they would like hire waiters and serve meals, and like, you know, everyone would dress up, and so yeah, it just really struck me, because it goes against the narrative that we have about gay history and like the trajectory of gay rights, where, you know, everyone was in the closet, no one could be out, and everyone was angry about it, and you know, then they all died tragically, and now we're where we are. Whereas Hayden and Jess kind of Forrest Gump to their way through the 20th century, you know, jumping from touring with Irving Berlin overseas in World War II. What?
Yeah, they were in This Is the Army. That's where they didn't meet, but they like, I've also been doing a lot of research on like gays in the military in World War II. And it's really funny, because if you showed up to World War II, if you were drafted and you got there and you were like, oh yeah, I like swept theaters on Broadway, they're like, cool, you're going to Irving Berlin. Like if you had the slightest inclination towards theatrics, because World War II, the government really valued having these stage shows, because they knew that morale was so low in this grisly war that they like kept putting money into producing these elaborate stage shows. When you watch White Christmas, at the beginning of Irving Berlin's White Christmas, like you're seeing one of those like stage shows. So, well,
and our more recent example, if anyone has seen the Captain America, the first Avenger movie, I mean, it's very much a part of that DNA. And people think that that's like, you know, what it's Marvel. No, that's a real thing they would do. The U.S. Sun Tour grew, I think, out of that, right? And just kept that going, right?
Yeah, that's what this is, I think, where it started. And what was so great is like, it was this little gay haven, because So Hayden and Just were there, and they were the two stage managers underneath the main stage manager, who thankfully wrote a memoir, and he wrote specifically a book about this. So I have that, and it has a lot of good stories about Hayden and Just in there, including the time that Just saved Hayden's life from a typhoon in the Philippines. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, like wild stuff I keep finding out. But it was these little gay havens, and I'm all plugged up, but I would show a picture, but there's basically like they would do, it was all male, and so the men would play women, like there was drag within This Is the Army, and there's this photo from This Is the Army that is basically just like all of a bunch of World War II soldier drag queens, and they are all like wearing dance belts, getting makeup, like like it's just this crazy other side. And you know, back then it's like, well, of course they're doing it for the war, for America, but it's also like the divas loved getting dressed up. You know?
Show business is show business, no matter if it's in wartime or in peacetime. It's still show business.
It's just really, really cool. And so over the past, so that was like last June. So over the past 7-8 months, I've talked to Barbara Eden. I've talked to the children of Larry Hagman and Bill Daly, the other two co-stars. I tracked down Emmeline Henry, who played Hayden's TV wife, Mrs. Bellows. She passed in 1979, but I found her older sister, who is 95.
Holy crap.
And I found her, and I interviewed her. And I got to... there's a... basically, everyone on the internet thinks that Emmeline Henry never got married. It's literally one of her like IMDb did you know, like she always played TV wives but was never married herself. And then when I told her sister this, she was like, no, she was married. And I was like, what? And she told me the name, and they're like, yep, got married in 1969, divorced in 1974. And so I went and found the marriage and divorce certificates on ancestry.com, and I edited that Wikipedia page, and it felt good to like, you know, like,
thank
I don't know.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, because you have this all the time, these things that become like stuck in culture. There was just one the other day, and it's gonna bug me until I remember it. But yeah, I'm glad you set that straight, because this is it. People just get lazy. They buy into the myth. Yeah. They repeat the myth, and then it becomes like fact until someone goes, wait a minute.
The most curious one of this is so I've also gone through, I literally just finished this today, maybe, clipping newspaper articles. So I've clipped about 1,000 newspaper articles from when Hayden was born in 1910 to when he died in 1987.
Wow. That
are just about, and through those newspaper articles, you can track like when he was like booked in movies, where he was touring, when like the parties he went to, and then his husband's Just's name is always listed in the attendees, but they're never like together, which is but there was this random, like, I'm also finding out that before the internet, the newspaper was like Google, and people would literally like write written letters and be like, who played this character? And then you wait like 5 months and then you get an answer. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there was this one little thing of like, Hayden Rorke has become a champion breeder of basset hounds, and that's it. And it's not attributed to anything. And then in Barbara Eden's memoir, she writes, he lived in Studio City with his menagerie of dogs. And not true, because I have talked to... First of all, when I talked to Barbara Eden, she was also like, no, I don't remember him having dogs. And I was like, I didn't bring up that she wrote that in her book, but like, whatever. Because I'm not going to argue with Barbara Eden. I'm like, whatever you say is fine.
Yeah, right.
But like talking to all of Hayden's living relatives, all of his partner Just's living relatives. He has 2 brothers that are still alive who are 87 and 88 or something like that. And so like all of them, like, no, he never had dogs. They had a cat. So it's things like that. Like that's, but what I find most important, and even though he is like such a minor footnote in television history, I do feel like he is emblematic of the queer, gay male, experience of the 20th century, because he lived through so much of it, and went through it being, as Barbara Eden says in her memoir, unashamedly gay. And it didn't seem to hinder his like getting jobs, owning a house with his partner, It's really remarkable. And I think that what spurred me to do it is because when all these people die, the memories die too.
Yep.
And queer people, we've lost our history. We're completely like, we have an entire generation and a half or 2 generations that are just gone. And there's this collective memory and tradition and storytelling. Like gays got a hard reboot in 1992. Like, and it's tragic. And like, we don't have this history. And it hit me that like, oh, Barbara Eden is 88 or so. And it's like, well, when she's gone, like this, all of this is going away.
There goes another primary source. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And so it hit me of like, well, I want to preserve this little happy, weird, untold, wild, fun slice of gay history that I if I can. And it's just really cool. I mean, yeah, it's just really remarkable. And like the response from all the family members who were all in their 70s and 80s, when I emailed essentially Hayden's sister-in-law, the sister-in-law of his partner, she wrote back and was like, I've been waiting for this. Like, we've been waiting for someone to care, like to have interest.
That's so lovely, though. I mean, oh God, Brett, that's like, I think what you're doing is so important. And I think a lot of people may at first be just confused because they're like, well, first of all, a lot of people our age or younger may or may not know much about I Dream of Jeannie, right? Yeah. They're waiting for the reboot.
Yeah.
But to take that interesting story that a lot of people didn't know and to document and to get the primary sources while they're available, to set the record straight, and to kind of work against the narrative of our mythology as queer people, to know that it is possible. I'm not saying it was likely or it was frequent, let's say, but it was possible to be openly gay, have a partner, have a life, and still have a career. And, was there privilege? Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, all that, right? But still, like it kind of puts a little bit of grist in the mythology that we have. And so, yeah, it's
nice because I mean, like the stories that we do remember are the sad ones, the tragic ones. I mean, Hayden's best friend was Rock Hudson, and they like went on cruises together and like all this stuff. So like Hayden's partner passed in October 79, and they had a like January 1980 cruise. It was going to be Hayden and Juss, and then the movie producer extraordinaire Ross Hunter, who did like all the Doris Day Rock Hudson movies, and he's the superstar. And then Rock Hudson and whoever Rock Hudson's partner was at the time, they were all going to go. But Hayden's partner passed. So I know the name of the gay that Hayden took on that cruise. And I have been aggressively trying to find him. And I've written physical letters to addresses I found on the internet, like trying to find, because I'm like, this man went on a gay ass cruise with Rock Hudson. Like, I need to know. So I don't want to. Yeah. So it's been a lot of. It's also been a lot of like cyber stalking.
I mean, you kind of have to, but I mean, it's not okay. So this is the thing, and I totally understand like the. You sheepishness about sheepishness because you feel like somebody off of what's that show I've been watching, Catfished, and sort of the weird and creepy degree to which you have to probe and pry and figure out, but it's for such a good reason. And I hope that anyone who at first might be like, who the hell is this like you I'm sure explain yourself very well.
Yeah, they do. They Google me and like basically like you see my profile on anything, you're like, yes, this weirdo would definitely be writing this book.
I wanted to figure out a place to put this in there, and I have some great comments from from the chat I want to throw out here in a second. But one of the things that you do so well, and I love you for this, is you dress to the nines more often than I ever do as a gay man. I mean, the fact that I am wearing a suit or a jacket at least, and a turtleneck that my mother does, I I absolutely attribute to you because it is outside of my normal comfort zone. But I want to elevate that game, and I think quarantine or whatever, like when we go back into the real world, for those of us who actually are sort of quarantining and keeping it low, I feel like there's a moment to sort of re-envision our image, and you provide ample. If you go on Brett's social media, you will be blown away by some of the looks that you're serving.
I try.
My favorites, though, so I love the suits and the dapper, all of that. But my also favorites, you haven't done these in a while, but I understand why, I think, because of quarantine. Your swimsuit looks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, Brett. The first time you posted one of those pictures, I was so happy because you were so happy trying to just live your best life. And in this such a classic, Hollywood, the cut of your anyway, I'm so glad that you are not only getting inspiration from that rich legacy of sort of what people like to dress like, but you're living it. You're just doing it, and you're exploring it, and I just think that's so
cool. Well, what I found, so during my research on Hayden, it feels like this match made in heaven because Hayden wore ascots a lot. That was it, and I wear ascots all the time, and Hayden wore Speedos. And I also only wear Speedos. And so, because he swam every morning, and that's all he ever wore. And so it just felt like, I was meant to do this. But he was such a dapper, well-dressed man that it has made me also want to up my game. And I just in talking about fashion, I mean, someone on Instagram is when when you're on Instagram and you're staring into the pit of despair and you're seeing, everything, you're having that that Rust Cole True Detective moment where everything, and you're ask me questions. And someone asked me how do you describe your style? And I always say it's classic menswear, but make it gay, or gay style, but make it classic. I exist in that little realm, and I like dressing the way I do because I like kind of reclaiming a queer gay male space in the, very, assholes like Tucker Carlson and Roger Stone and people and Glenn Beck have come in and been we're gonna take bow ties and hats, and it's just no, this is the stuff that Hayden Rorke, your Charles Dustin Riley's and Paul Lids, I dress the way I do just to try to reclaim that, and I wear Speedos because they're amazing and I love them, and anyone can wear them, and it is absolute malarkey that people say that, well, if you got the body for it, it's no, if you have a body, you're fine.
No, and you really look good in them, and that's for someone. I mean, because I'm a bigger person than you are, but it is body positivity of the type that we need to have more of, because it demonstrates that yes, you can pull it off. You can absolutely rock a Speedo. And I have not worn it, to be quite honest. I've not worn a Speedo, I think, since I was a child. I think I had a Speedo once as a kid. My mom swore me from wearing it ever again because she had problems with what it was. Anyway, but whatever that is, I think my resolution this year, when someday the world opens and I can go swim, I think I'm going to invest in a Speedo because you inspired me, and I love that. Let me real quick before they completely go off my screen. So we have a bunch of really great comments. My dear friend Matt Broussard loves you to death. 11 out of 10 for stash and enamel pen, which, oh my God, that's the other thing. You've inspired me to finally get the pen jacket that now that I'm in Seattle, I feel like that's a little more of a look I can rock here.
It's the uniform.
Yeah, it is really totally having seen it now. But and the action figure situation we do have to address, because you also document this very well on social media.
Yeah,
you've got some outstanding artwork and action figures back there, most of which I'm assuming are X-Men related.
Well,
right?
I mean, right now my setup is 90s Marvel, so I have Boom Boom and Rogue and Polaris, but I also have Thunderstrike and Armor Daredevil and Goth Morbius. And Night Thrasher. So
I love it. Oh my God. And then I think if we all had time machines, I think I Dream of Jeannie cast parties would be right up there on the list.
Let me tell you, the who's who of gay Hollywood that was over at those parties. I mean, like, basically, there are a lot of straight people because obviously, like, there aren't a lot of gay people that he was friends with and knew that are around. So I've talked to a lot of straight people, and every time they say names, I'm like, if it's a male name, I will immediately Google, and it'll be like gay, gay, gay. And of course, the straight person talking to me, you know, doesn't like. Hayden was really good friends with one of the interns that was an intern on Bewitched, and Hayden would like. He was so nice. He'd just like take people out, like, hey, do you want a hamburger? I'll give you this. And then like, I'm going to write you letters. You write me letters. And whenever you're in town, come on. And well, he was the most like open, friendly person. And so when he's telling me things, he's like, well, he had, you know, Charles Pierce, the female impersonator. I'm like, yeah, of course he was friends with Charles Pierce, the like father of, I don't know, American Drag or whatever. And like Cesar Romero and like Rock Hudson, Ross Hunter, just like all these gays. And I just would live to go and hang out at that place. Ugh.
There's a moment in Doctor Who when Stephen Moffat wrote Doctor Who where the Doctor, it was the Christmas special with the Scrooged Christmas Carol, and they go to like an old like Hollywood 50s era, I think, party with like Marilyn Monroe and Frank Sinatra and all that, and that I want more moments where the Doctor pops up in random Hollywood things. I'm actually surprised Ryan Murphy at this point hasn't already done, you know, more of this era, because clearly he's in love with it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's honestly why I feel like this is also kind of Time Is Right. Like when I'm writing the book proposal, it's like Ratched, Boys in the Band. What else did he do? Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, like it's literally. These are actually like a lot of them are like people that Hayden knew in a way. Like he was like tangential to that stuff. He didn't know Nurse Ratched because she's not real.
Yeah. But I mean, no, you're right. And oh my God, that would be the thing to, when you get this done and published and it gets all the attention I'm sure it deserves. I would not be shocked if Murphy was like, you know, let's adapt that. I feel like that is within the scope of the tangible, probable, because of his love of that era.
I've already cast. I want Andrew Rannells to play Hayden, so I've already it's already right there.
Ooh, okay, all right, that's awesome.
They have the same similar head shape, and I was like, that makes sense.
He does have an interesting head shape. Let me put another picture up. I found a couple. I didn't know he was in a Wonder Woman episode. That was pretty cool.
Pluto with Robert Reed, another gay.
Yes, that's
another sitcom gay.
Another sitcom gay. I love that.
Yeah, my favorite kind.
So let me, and I love that outfit. That outfit he's wearing is like classic, like
I want that. I want that cardigan.
That cardigan, that tie. It's a very grayscale. It's fantastic. So Matt's not done. He had a few more comments here. That one we did. The category is WW2 USO drag realness, which it's not drag, but there was a Saturday Night Live skit recently where they did a USO tour. I forgot who the guest was, but it was fantastic. It was actually one of the better SNL skits. They're kind of inconsistent at times, right? But like this one, you got to go find it. Just look up USO, and it was like in the last 6 months, and it's so good. They do like a reenactment of like a Beyonce song or something. So what else? Oh yeah. Of course, storytellers like Brett are critical to preserving our history. Absolutely, everyone should take Brett as an example and do this yourself, even if it's within your own family or if you're at a bar when there are times to go to bars. One of the best things I found when I would hang out in the Parliament House in Orlando was just talking to some of the older gay men that hung out there, because it was all ages there. Yeah. I would learn so many cool things about people.
So I realized I've talked to now. So, I mean, like the biggest reveal maybe that I have in the book is that after Hayden's partner passed in 79, Hayden had another partner from 80 to 87 when he passed that is recorded nowhere on the internet. Like it's just like that. But like, and so I've talked to him and he just emailed me today. And so he is 65, I think. Yeah, like I don't know, like I try to be like, the professional journalist and like, don't get close to your source and things like that. But it is this weird, visceral thing, because I've never talked to a gay man over 50, probably, definitely not over 60. And so I don't know, I've done it twice now, because also another person that Hayden was in a show with, I called him and I talked to both of them, and it was just, it would after like an hour, just be like, thank you so much for existing, for doing the work, you know, because there aren't many of y'all left. Like it's, but I have learned so much, and it feels a bit like it feels a bit like, you know, Buffy connecting to Slayer history in a way. Like, if that reference is still okay, we can.
Yeah.
I made that reference for Sarah Michelle Gellar only.
Exactly. No, well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate that. I do agree with you that they are such a treasure, and queer culture can be a little like a lot of culture, but especially queer young. Everything's young and fresh and exciting.
I need to start screaming about how none of the gays on season 13 of Drag Race know who Charles Nelson Riley is or know anything about disco? And I'm like, I'm 36. Like I grew up not having the internet, and I still can name so many one-hit wonders from the 80s because of VH1. It's just,
I want to believe that was a moment for television that wasn't 100% like she asked a question. I forgot the exact question that Rue asked, but it was like, you know, name a specific blah blah blah, and everyone just had deer in a car's headlights look, right? Yeah. But I want to believe that some of them would have been like, oh, well, yeah, such and such. Oh,
I refuse to believe that Tina Burner does not know who Charles Nelson Riley is.
Seriously, right?
That honest, like, geez.
I know. So I that moment felt not genuine, but at the same time, it's very possible.
Every year when Snatch Game comes around, and it's like, you know, the younger queens only know housewives and YouTube and like Instagram influencers, and then the people that I relate to know Joanne Worley and Paul Lynde and Little Edie, like older stuff.
No, but it's older, but it's because other people brought it back to our attention. It's not.
We had an interest.
Well, we had an interest too, of course. So that helped.
There's like talking to Hayden's partner, he was like, well, when I moved to LA and I was, you know, trying to be an actor and stuff, you would find out who the Hollywood gays were in the 70s, and they would have parties, and you would go to the house, and the older gays would put on the movies. So like they had the actual like film reels and would like put them on and be like, you're gonna watch this Judy Garland number. Like it was basically like queer culture 101 for any like getting off the bus, and you're immediately, you know, shown the history. And that's so cool, and something that I've never had.
No, well, we get it in little moments in the bar culture, but if you don't go to the bars, other than like your work or like Matt Baum's Queer Culture Cruise and all the stuff he's doing, you don't really get it. You just kind of have to hope that someday someone you will meet will share it with you. It's kind of like when you're really young and your older friend's like, oh, no, you don't want to listen to that. You want to listen to this. And then you go into the deep dive on that, you know. So I think again, it's so important, and we need more of it. Let's see. Matt also wants to go find your Instagram account. So, you know,
I mean, it's my name right there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I did that.
Our buddy James loves your Arthur Adams X-Men poster.
Purchased at a Kmart in early 1993, and it has been on every wall of every house or place I've ever lived.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I did not even know that stuff. I mean, I should have figured at some point. Like that one is definitely one of those like famous like images, but I didn't know Walmart carried it. Wow.
Okay, it was Kmart had, you know, and you know, when you go and you have like the big like clonk 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 thing of the big posters. And that's my first X-Men poster.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those. Yeah, no, that's so cool. I really like my only comic posters ever came from like a comic shop, and specifically like the ones they would give out, because I wasn't like buying the big ones, but like still they would give these awesome ones. Or Wizard would have the cool ones that
I got a Chef Boyardee sent me a glow in the dark Jim Steranko X-Men poster from the mid 90s that I still have. It's somewhere in this. And it's a Jim Steranko, but it's the mid 90s, so it's Jim Steranko drawing like Gambit and Bishop and Mr. Sinister. It glows in the dark.
Why did Chef Boyardee? Is it because they were like
they had X-Men SpaghettiOs for a hot second, and if you bought enough cans, you got to mail in and get an X-Men poster. So of course I did.
Wow, Steranko too. That's insane. Like at some point, I mean, I don't know if Steranko is going to be doing Comic Cons, and much less if Comic Cons are going to be what they used to be at some point when COVID's over. But like that'd be a story. Go up to Steranko with that and be like, "Hey,
what did you think of Bishop? What's this character? What's Gambit's character design? How does that work for you?"
God, the one time I got to meet Steranko, it was Charlotte. It was Heroes Con. I forgot what year. And it was surreal just sitting there listening to him tell stories and then going up and having him sign, Shield, Nick Fury, Agent of Shield, trade I just bought. And he's a character. I hope everyone can go. I don't even know if he's still on Twitter, but when he started his Twitter, it was outrageous.
I know, telling stories about punching Bob Kane in the face.
Yes, that was the best.
Yeah,
that was. I tell people that story, kind of like retelling it because it's so surreal. He basically went up and punched the creator, by the way, not really, of Batman, with Bill Finger, who probably should get more of the credit. And he went up because Kane was an asshole and was claiming credit he didn't deserve. Anyway, it's a great story. You should definitely look up Steranko on Twitter. So a couple more real quick, and then I want to talk WandaVision because I feel like we should definitely address it. Putting an X-Men poster shopping at Kmart in '93 also belongs on your bucket list for your time traveler. Christopher Phillips there, welcome. And yes, obviously follow Brett. 100%. He's always entertaining. I love that.
Follow Dylan. He's the graphic designer at Decider, and he's the one that makes all the. I've had him make so much weird art for my stuff. A lot of Sam Neill thirst trap images I've made him make.
Oh, I do remember some of those now. I'm definitely going to follow his stuff. And then, the cans, I guess, that Arthur Adams art.
That's right. Oh, God, yeah.
That's like, I was into X-Men in '93. I think I just started reading, but I don't remember any of that. So, like, my mom must never have even, like, nope, we're not doing that.
Pogs. Give me them Pogs. I had all the skull caps, which were just the regular Pogs, but they superimposed a skull on top of them.
Those the collectability, and this is the thing, like we all have our collections. I mean, let's be honest, right? But like those were not things we thought, someday we're gonna look back and go, I really wish I had one of those cans to see the Arthur Adams art from it. No, they were gone. Their parents are us.
I've looked them up. I'm gonna buy them probably.
Oh my God. So WandaVision, because there's a thing right now going on, obviously, if you're not completely locked away and don't have or you don't have Disney Plus, about WandaVision. It's the Marvel new, like the very first the first of the Kevin Feige cinematic universe,
Marvel
TV.
Studios making their own stuff and not let Jeff Loeb drag things out.
I mean, I love Jeff Loeb. I know he's not everyone's favorite person in the world, and God knows he probably has scandals waiting to come out. But I do enjoy, and I have loved the stuff that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
I love Daredevil.
Daredevil was great. Yeah, no. So all that aside, first Marvel Cinematic Universe TV show on Disney Plus, WandaVision. It's got Wanda Maximoff created this artificial reality, basically, kind of like she did in House of M.
That is,
right, and
that's my heart.
Well, for a lot of us, it's one of those moments in mutant history that's so shocking and so interesting. And at first, you feel like it's sort of a bubble universe, but it actually really did spawn so many storylines. Like
Layla Miller, right? Layla Miller. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you've been writing this great series again on Decider. I will put the link back up here if you have not read these. Again,
so many things. You
break down each episode in a way that I need, because I catch most of the references, but what I didn't catch from the last one. So the last one that's aired as of this recording was the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Totally missed the Kick-Ass reference. I knew that Pietro in the cinematic universe from Age of Ultron, I knew that was the same actor who played Kick-Ass in the movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember that Evan Peters, who plays Quicksilver in WandaVision, but also in the X-Men movies, was his buddy in that movie.
And then having Elizabeth Olsen say "kick," like it's just so. I didn't catch it at first, and my managing editor Alex Zalbin was like, "Oh, I thought this was hilarious," and then I was like, "Oh, geez." But that's because I'm catching so much others. The The thing is that WandaVision is the densest show since Lost, probably, and I think it's maybe even denser because they broke the whole story at once. Like it's not going on for 5-6 seasons, and like they have to like it's like they know the 9-episode story, so it is so dense, but it is dense with MCU references on top of Marvel Comics references, on top of sitcom references. It's just like the fireplace screen in the episode 5, the Family Ties episode, is an NBC Peacock.
Oh my god!
It's shaped like and it is shaped like an NBC Peacock, and Family Ties aired on NBC. And there is absolutely no way that if they were going to buy a fireplace screen, that's not a coincidence. Like that, because they don't look like peacocks normally. Like the literal logo with like there's like stuff like that,
kind of separately,
stuff like that. That is just. I mean, like, just like little things about how, like, when Paul Bettany is doing the Dick Van Dyke Show episode, he sits on his desk like this. And it's like, that's how Dick Van Dyke sat on his desk on the show. And it wasn't until I watched the episode for the 5th time that I noticed that. And thankfully, I had screeners for the first 3 episodes, so I was able to watch them a whole bunch for those recaps. And then
have you talked? I don't know. I apologize. I should probably know this. Have you talked with any of the production staff about like their intentions with the sort of sitcom elements?
Yeah, because I got to do the press junket, and I specifically requested to talk to Matt Shakman, the director. Well, I was like, I want to talk to literally everyone, but like if I want Matt Shakman, the director, because he was also a child actor on, I believe, Just the 10 of Us.
No way.
And so he like grew up doing multicam sitcoms as a child actor, and now as an adult, he's directed a ton of It's Always Sunny, but then also like Game of Thrones and like some other sci-fi drama stuff. And so I was like, well, I want to talk to him. And I also got to talk to Catherine Hans. That was starstruck moment. But like with Shakman, I felt, because I was like, I'm going to ask the specific questions, like the 1950s episode is based on the Dick Van Dyke Show, which started in 1961. Like, what is the intention there? And I was like, I'm not asking this to be shady. It's just like, I know that you guys know your stuff. So like, what is the, and so him talking about like, we did fudge some things. Because I pointed out, it's like 1950 sitcoms aren't funny. I Love Lucy is timeless, and I Love Lucy is hilarious. But no other show in the 50s tried to do what Lucy was doing. They are. Like,
Leave It to Beaver is another.
Go back, watch Father Knows Best, Leave It to Beaver, Donna Reed Show. They are. They're slow watches. And so it was like, and he was like, so we started, it was on the cusp, and like it started in 61, so like we can kind of, wanted to, but they wanted to do that Dick Van Dyke thing because like the script writing was so good. And then I specifically asked, like in the episode 2, the Bewitched episode, which is in black and white until it goes to color at the end, and the coloring technique they use looks identical to when you go back and watch the first 2 seasons of Bewitched now, and they've been colorized. Like, it's that same kind of like matte, flat, like saturation. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, we purposely tried to mimic the like palette and tone of all. And it's just like, that's so cool.
Such a devotion. And it's such, what I love about this series so much is it tries to do so many things, which most your instinct is like, do not do too much, or instinct, or focus on like one, but they're trying to do all of this loving recreation and homage to sitcoms while telling an extension of the Marvel Cinematic Universe story, while also referencing so many parts of the MCU that we all know from comic book fans. It is a daunting challenge, and so far, I mean, they're killing it. I have literally no complaints that I can ever remember of anything that where I'm like, well, because it's just all so intricate. Matt says it really well. Even Vision can't achieve the density of ideas in WandaVision, which I love. Thank you, Matt, for that deep cut on Vision's powers. For those who may or may not know, he can change his density. So, I mean, what else did you like gather, or what else have you like kind of figured out? I mean, I don't know if you've cracked the nut, but I mean, you did reference the fact that Agnes specifically is dressed as a witch in the Halloween episode.
I mean, So like she's also wearing a brooch that in the first episode she's wearing a brooch at her neck on her like at her necklace around her neck. I don't know, which is like Agatha Harkness always had one of those. And also she's in episode 4. She's also the only person on that big board of cast members that doesn't have a driver's license. She's the only one. They don't know who is playing her. They know who is playing all the other people that are trapped, but like they didn't identify her. So again, like but the other thing with this show is that it could all be red herrings. Like everything about this show, like in the Bewitched opening credits, there are Easter eggs that about Bova, the cow woman that raised Scarlet Witch in the comics. There's a Easter egg for Grim Reaper. There's one for the Wizard apparently that I haven't seen. Like, and I do not think they are going to be bringing Bova into this show.
Yeah,
I mean maybe, but it seems like a lot to be like, high evolutionary, evolved from a cow.
Well, even the beekeeper that came out of the sewers that were, or the scientist, whatever, in the hazmat suit who became a beekeeper, people were like, "Oh my god, that's totally Grim Reaper."
Blah, blah, blah. Or it's AIM, and it's like,
yeah.
And now we know, no, that's a Sword hazmat suit that got turned into a beekeeper. But why is everything hexagons? Which is AIM's logo is hexagons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so
or it's her hex powers. I mean, that's the thing. The writers are smart enough to know that it could go either way for comic book fans. And so there's the fan service element, and then there's the no, but we really need it to be this to move the story forward. And where I still don't know where we land with all of this is like, what is going on with Sword and the director of Sword, Hayward? And is he some other thing, or is it just sort of evil government agency doing bad things? I mean, there's so many ways this could play out and end up.
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing is that I'm fairly certain they're introducing the Fantastic Four via Sword.
So I saw you post that, and I know that there's a visual reference with. Oh, by the way, spoilers. I probably should have said that, but in some ways we haven't really like given too much of the plot away. We've just kind of been referencing stuff.
Honestly, for the first 3 episodes, is like the jokes. Like don't be spoiling the jokes, because I think the first 2 episodes are hilarious. They're very good. So I'm not going to spoil the best jokes from those.
We won't spoil jokes. But so there's a visual reference with Photon, with Monica Rambeau, her outfit with the blue and white. Whereas, like, if it was you or someone else, they like pointed out that, like, no, that looks kind of like a Fantastic Four outfit. And then there's this reference recently, I think, was it Kat Dennings' character kind of referencing, or was it Monica's?
Monica says, like, I'm going to meet up with an aerospace engineer. Also, the thing, the sword logo looks like a 4. And when Monica Rambeau is wearing that costume, she's wearing a pendant that has the Sword logo, and it's like literally it's a 4 on her chest with the white and the blue. And then there's also Sword's color scheme is all blue and white, which in the comic books, it is usually Shield gray, or Abigail Brand is green. So she's head to toe green. So the fact that they've made the color scheme blue and white, aerospace engineer, also the fact that they're introducing this cosmic radiation in WandaVision, and then they also say that Sword is they have an astronaut training program, and they're very desperate for astronauts, which in my head is like, or does that mean they're going to be like, I don't know, have the scientist, his girlfriend, and her brother go up there? We need someone. So
the rumor is Krasinski was cast. He plays Jim in The Office. John Krasinski, who plays Jim in The Office, has been like cast secretly as Reed Richards. And do you really think they're gonna like go there, or is this just all sort of world building to
no shade to this being on YouTube? But I'm like, if it's a YouTube video, I don't trust that shit. those I don't know, those I never watch them because I don't want to give them the views, but it's just like MCU X-Men trailer leaked 300,000 views, and I'm just like, what is this video, and why is it 10 minutes long?
It's just clickbait. It's all
because
clickbait.
Like, this doesn't exist. So what did they put? What is that 10 minutes of content? I will never click because I hate that stuff.
It drives me crazy. We watch these Fortnite videos, and they're always leading with this, the next big Fortnite with the Galactus back in the day. But Galactus turns out was actual. But like other things were like, oh, it's going to go here, and you're like, no, it's not. And then you find out that they totally just doctored footage, put up fan trailers or fan theories. Admittedly, that's.
I think John Krasinski's incredibly boring casting, and I don't know if Marvel, I think Marvel is very good at casting, very unique. Like they don't go for. I mean, like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is maybe the only time where it seemed like, okay, that's a little on the nose. Like that's a little, usually it's always just like Chris Evans, like Brie Larson. We wanted Charlize Theron. Like they do the thing where like they look at who the fans want and they pick the person that's like probably more affordable, but like more critically acclaimed and like not on the A-list yet. And they will because I mean, look at Elizabeth Olsen, like she's like, they cast Michelle Tanner's little sister to be Wanda Maximoff in Age of Ultron. And she absolutely crushes this show. She's
amazing. Everyone on that show, Paul Bettany, who I've loved forever, and I'm so glad he's getting like mainstream recognition. Not that he hadn't been known,
but like to do comedy and to be like, oh, this dude, I fully expect he needs to get a comedy series after this. Like absolutely. Mike Schur or I don't know, whoever's behind Ted Lasso, like get him in some, because he is so naturally funny. And it makes sense when you watch his interviews because he's very rakish and charismatic. And it's like, why haven't they been tapping into this energy?
He's what's his name? Who played House?
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. He's very Hugh Laurie to me. Like they're both very British, obviously, but a specific kind of a British wit that I really love.
He said that his biggest influences on WandaVision were Hugh Laurie and Dick Van Dyke, at least for the first episode, and then like moving on.
Perfect. That's so perfect. So before we wrap up, because I know it's getting close to the magical hour, where are you at with Drag Race? I know you're doing some great coverage on there as well on Decider.
Give it to me.
like we're all like, are you? First of all, you're doing UK and America at the same time, right?
Oh yeah, and it
like most of us,
yeah. I mean, it kills me. There's so much, but I'm also like, what else am I doing? Well, I mean, that's the thing. We had oh god, I did the count. But it's like from the end of February to November or last year, we had we had nonstop Drag Race going from Drag Race to Holland. Like it was just every single week. And
Canada, well, so America stuff, Canada,
All Stars. Also, was right after, and then Canada, and then Holland, and then like that Vegas show, and also Super Secret Celebrity was in there a little bit untucked. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was all, but it was also like so Drag Race gives me a reason every Thursday and Friday now to text with my best friends, who I've been best friends with for 20 something years, and we're doing a Drag Race draft right now with a bigger group of our friends for season 13, and I'm the one that designed the format of the game and I'm running it, and I am just really getting pounded. Like I'm the bottom. I'm not doing.
Who is your? Let's just do this. Who is your pick for UK right now, based on where we're at? Which, by the way, if you're watching, basically we've just come back from the break. That's what's really cool about UK is they're doing. They filmed it before pandemic and not post pandemic, but after they figured out how to make it safer.
To blow everyone's mind, all of season 13 of RuPaul's Drag Race takes place in between episodes, 5 and 6 of UK. Which you can tell because Michelle goes from all black hair to the streak is now there. And also RuPaul in that first episode back you can tell she's very punchy, and I love it.
Oh my God.
She's very
that was the H&M comment. If you want to go look that up, we won't spoil what it was a reference to, but oh my God, there's some great moments. And my favorite meme from that is what she says about how you have to elevate your game. This is on television, blah, blah. And they cut that with her luchador look from the end of the last season.
No one's doing my makeup. I'm just going to wear a fake skinny.
But so who's your pick for UK? Who's your
I feel Lawrence Chaney's getting the winners at it because he keeps winning all these challenges. So sure. My personal faves, Jenny Lemon and Estina were two of my faves and they're gone. But Tia Coffee and Bimini Bambulash are my like dark horse. Like I want them in the finals. Tia on personality alone, because the looks, but like Bimini has shown a surprise. I keep saying that she looks like if Joanna from The Rescuers Down Under married an Olsen twin and had a baby.
Oh my god!
Like there's something about. She looks like when she's in her confessionals, she looks like like the sidekick of a Disney villain because she's just like, hey, I'm like a whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then she'll be like, you know, gender's a spectrum and people need to understand that. And it's like, Brexit's really bad. All the gay bars are closed. It's like, oh my God, I think she might actually be the most aware and smart of the season.
So fascinating. And
she has like real, like, big dum-dum energy in the best way, and I love that.
I love that. I'm coining that. You just put the term. So who's your pick for 13 then? Who are you looking for that?
Oh my god, who was even on? Oh, I was like, God, there's so much. I feel like Simone's my front runner to win, but I love Utica and Olivia. Are my tops. I love both of them. I love the kooky, weird, weird ass queens. And so like Utica every week, I'm like, what is in this brain? And the fact that she makes all of her looks and they're also just like super fashion. So she isn't just like a goofy weirdo.
No,
she's also just like
fashion. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Yeah. Like this is, and she also loves Carol Burnett. So
oh well, to be and 100%. And every time they read her about like too much camp, I'm like, no, drag is camp. I get what you're saying. You want her to show other sides, but they almost like couch their criticisms in like something else. Where I'm like, no, what are you talking about? No, of that.
This is why Crystal Method is one of my favorite drag queens in the show, because like she's totally a queen that was meant to go home. Third or fourth, maybe fifth, but she listened. She did everything they told her. Like they were like, change up her makeup next week, glamour, but still herself. And then when RuPaul wouldn't shut up about that mullet, she's like, cool. Well, my commercial's about a mullet. My one woman show's about a mullet. She's like, so she played the game so smartly and was so uniquely herself. And I feel like if Utica takes notes and just does a couple of runway model walks, good. She'll be in the final.
She could absolutely get there. I don't expect her to, but I hope. Yes.
Yeah, it's like is she going to listen to the notes? Because you got to listen to the notes at least a little bit.
Listen to the notes like Jenny did in the UK, but then you got to actually execute the notes, and that's not always possible.
Yeah.
Or, in the cards, it's kind of thing. So Brett, I really, really love you so much, and I'm so glad we got to do this. I feel like we need to do a whole episode devoted to drag at some point.
Yeah,
but
so much.
If you ever we should do drag, do a deep dive on that some more. But yeah, Decider.com, author Brett White, or just Google Brett White and Marvel WandaVision or Hayden Rorke. I'm so excited for the book. I can't wait for the world to learn more about.
Yeah.
And just thank you so much for all the cool stuff you're doing. I really, really, really do love you so much.
Thanks for having me around to talk about it and pump myself up. Follow me on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's right. Follow him for the thirst trap, especially because swimming season's coming. Even with the COVID,
well, that's the thing. Like as soon as it gets over 70 degrees, I can go back up to the roof again. Or I'm not waiting for the beach water to warm up. Which usually takes till like June or July. If it gets over 70 in April, going up.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
I'm losing my mind.
Well, we look forward for more awesome thirst trap and excellent pop culture analysis. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it, Brett.
Thank you.